welcome back to another Design Cuts live session. And I am thrilled to welcome back the wonderfully talented Kris Lauren from Pretty Little Lines. How are you, Kris?
Thank you. Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Good.
And
I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm excited for you to be here. I'm really
Thank
excited
you.
for the session. Today, what are we going to be learning, Kris?
We are going to be learning how to draw flowers using the flower tools, the new brush pack that was actually inspired by so many people that are actually here today. So this all came from our last chat in the summer. So maybe some of you were here and you all encouraged me to do this. So I want to thank you. It was really, really fun.
I didn't realize that.
Shall I share my screen and I can?
Yeah, please, over to you.
Do that. Okay. All right. So I'll just show you quickly a little quick overview. So there are a bunch of, 39 or 40 brushes. So I have all my favorite sort of sketching and line work brushes. So it's just a really sort of a good basic curated collection. It's not an overwhelming pack. It's just all the basic things that I really like to use in all my drawings. So this is for all your sketching and line work. So we have that.
Amazing.
And then I have a watercolor because I mostly work with sort of a watercolor type look, usually with most of my flowers. So you have all your fills and your sort of to make all the nice little edges. And I think that's a pretty good overview of all sort of the things you'll get for that part. And then of course you want to add some extra bits like splotches and splashes and splatters just to give it that extra sort of feel. I will say that just while we're looking at this particular succulent, actually after this we're done, I'll put live a video tutorial that I did on how to draw this particular one. It's a little bit more detailed. I actually wanted to do it today, but I did a run through and it was so long. So I put it up. I'll put it up on my YouTube so you guys can have an additional tutorial on that.
Appreciate that.
Rush it. So in the pack, there's also a lot of tutorials and guides. So you will have access to a video tutorial. It'll have the link there, as well as some step-by-step guides that are on a canvas. So you can go through and you can practice on one side and follow along. So if you just go into the layers, you can see, let me just open up here. So how to draw it. So you can see how the grid builder will work. And I'll do a full demo of how this happens too. So you use the little grids and you can place them within each other. And then you'll start to add all your detail. And you can just turn these layers on to see how I made this flower. And if you just follow the lines and the directions of them, then you can kind of understand where the petals will go. And that really helps, especially with the foreshortening at the front, which can be a little tricky sometimes.
So you've opened up the template.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the drawing guide. So you're drawing each leaf here, or these are pre-drawn leaves?
These are pre-drawn leaves, or petals, so that you can go and this is just the file that's already prepared for you, so you can go through
So it's like a working file. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that hopefully will help you, and then so you can follow along on the other side. So I've told you what grids you use, and then you can follow along for that. So this will just help you sort of just give a practice depending on how you like to work. And then also I've shown you how you can paint it as well.
Amazing.
Well, you got to turn off the other layer, otherwise it's hard to read. Yeah. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of help when you're doing it on your own, because sometimes the video is nice and sometimes just having it right beside you is nice too. Mm-hmm. So there's a few of those. There are the 3 of those, so that you can have a test at.
I love that you have the blank side just saying practice here, so you can work side by side next to that guide. Really smart.
Mm-hmm. I'll just show you this other one while we're here, because I probably won't be drawing this one today. So this one is a different one where you have sort of one inside of the other. It's kind of a good way to show you how to do like sort of quite a large raised center. And so you can tilt them and put them together one inside of another. And then this is how I went about going and drawing all the petals. And you can just see you keep adding until you're done. All right. Well, why don't we actually do it in action? Because that will be more self-explanatory.
No, I love that though. I mean, these are like scientific diagrams. I never realized
Oh
the
yeah.
anatomy of a flower was this complex, but I guess it is. It's one of those things you think, oh, that'll be easy to
Yeah.
draw. Maybe like the 5-year-olds version where it's just like a sun.
Yeah.
But
This is if you want to
actually,
not do it
yeah,
straight on. It's basically.
this is
Yeah.
this is incredible because I think they're probably, correct me if I'm wrong, deceptively difficult to draw a flower correctly.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you get used to it, of course, but yeah, it can be. Oh, I guess I should point out too, all these other ones here, when you see all the groupings, I've also included 4 compositions that you can use. So they're already put together. So like this, you can just use as a guide to draw over top. So if you're wanting to do a little bit more, not just one flower, but more complex creations, they are ready for you to go.
Incredible.
So I've also included a canvas, so that will make all your watercolor look nice too. And it has all the effects on it, and even some extra paint effects that you can turn on or off as well. So you can play with those. So that's what we're in right now. So first, let's start with something a little bit, well, I don't know how simple it is, but it's a daisy. So what I'm going to do is go into my flower tools up here. Okay, so you can see all the flower tools. So they're all the sketches and line work, and then watercolor, and then the extras at the bottom there. So then the grid builder looks like this. I have 4 major shapes. So I have the cup, a bell shape. They're all in concave or convex, so depending on how you want it to look. And then saucer and trumpet. So I really tried to narrow it down to the main shapes that most flowers come in. So that is what I came up with for that. So today, right now, I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use the saucer, and I'm going to do the, let's see, I'll do the -15. So you just tap on that. And why is this happening? All right, I'm going to have it about 40%. Maybe I'll scale it up. Actually, I'm going to turn off my canvas effects right now just for this part, just so it looks a little bit clearer for you. Okay, so you can just scale these, and you can also transform them and warp them as much as you want as well. I'm going to go into freeform and make this a slightly bit shallower just for today. And then I'm going to leave it like that for a second, because this will be easier if I leave it straight up and down when I'm doing more than one shape. So I'm going to pair the shapes by, well, actually, this is important. Add a new layer. Otherwise, it's really hard to place multiple things in the exact spot. So if you just go back, I'm going to use the same one again, and I'm just going to tap, and then I'm going to resize it. And that will be my center. So I'm just going to put in those lines there. And then I'm going to merge them together just by pinching them. And use your arrow, and you can just tilt it. So you have a nice little tilt. And then we're ready to go. So I'm just going to click the end to bring down my opacity so I can see it a little bit better. And then, of course, a new layer so I don't draw on top of my guys. Back into the brushes, back into flower tools. I'm going to go to favorite sketch because that is my favorite sketch. So I like to do most of my work with. All right. So then you just start to map out where you want all your petals. So I would normally just go through and just sort of do all these little nubbly bits for my center. And they're just little C shapes or little ends, I guess. Oops. I just got this, the paper-like cover on my iPad. And it's like,
Have you used it before?
I haven't. I've only started using the last couple of days.
Getting used to it.
I really like it, but
there's an adjustment period.
Yeah, there is. Little things happen. You're like, oh, okay, that's not really, or don't happen. It's a little less sensitive in some ways. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Maria says it doubles as a cute UFO.
Yeah, so, exactly. Well, these shapes you can use for other things. Very versatile pack. UFOs and flowers.
Or like a sun hat or something.
That's right. So I would go through and do these sorts of little bits. I'm gonna do this flower, and then I do want to paint another flower to show you how to do all that part. So we'll just, hopefully, I won't do this too detailed. But then we go through and just start with your petals. So I'm gonna start with a kind of a wiggly one here. And I love this pen. It's nice and pressure sensitive, so you can get all those irregular lines. See, my finger keeps making things. All right. All right, I'm just going to do this, not like super awesome, but we'll get the idea. It's very early in the morning for me to be drawing.
What time is it for you?
It's just after 7 now.
Oh, wow. Well done for being so with it. I don't know if I could do a live session at 7 in the morning.
Oh, I know. Well, it's a good thing I checked yesterday. For some reason, I had my brain, it was going to be at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, good thing I looked again. Not been happy with me.
No, I appreciate you joining us.
Oh,
Have you had a large
I
cup
love
of
having
coffee?
it. No, I don't drink coffee.
I feel like you've told me this before. Apologies.
I know. No, of course, I don't remember everything. No, I just don't like it. I don't like the taste of it. I like hot chocolate. No health reasons. I actually have matcha tea sometimes, but I hate tea too. So I shoot it. Like I just put it in a little bit of water and shot. Ugh, it's disgusting, but it's good for you. So they say. All right. So then you can see, I guess, yeah, you can see here where all your center points are going to be. So I would just sort of like make a point of where this part is if I'm doing all these little bits. I mean, these little nubbly things take forever. Gotta be honest. Just normally how I would do them. You know,
and obviously this is the bit which is, not assisted quite so much by this pack. So are there any tips for people who are not as experienced as you?
Just actually studying flowers is really my tip. Just look at a lot of reference photos and then just practice. And also your tools. I think, again, I really love this particular brush for this kind of stuff because it's kind of really nubbly and, gritty. And it if you just play with how your pen is on the tablet, like practicing using different pressures and stuff. Actually, I'm doing this terribly. Look at that. That's totally askewed. But anyway, you need to follow the lines. Actually, I do need my guide for this. But this would always, but yeah, I think that really helps. Just studying and then getting your style. I mean, it just takes time and practice. There's no way, there's no shortcut. You just got to do it all the time, every day. Practice. I mean, it's easy for me because I do draw every single day. So, you just kind of get in a groove. So here you, again, using your center line, I can kind of see it there. That will help me kind of know where my stem is going to come out of too. Right? So that will help. And then you can draw like a little leaf. Oh, this is really looking lovely.
Yeah.
No, I'm being.
Wait, did you say lovely or ugly?
No, I'm being sarcastic.
It is looking lovely, though.
Oh, it's great. And then you can take this away. I know I get so weird about drawing in front of people for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, so there's a pretty simple little flower. How you can. Hopefully that makes sense. I should show you too, though, if I just turn this off. I can show you how to nest these. I won't draw the flower, but I'll just show you how to nest them. So like I was doing for that. Okay, I never know. Somebody's going to be mad at me for saying pro-tea wrong. I know it's not that. And somebody's already corrected me, and I've completely forgotten how to just say it again. It's the type of flower. So sorry. It's not a pro-tea. It's something else. Not sure.
I can't help you, I'm afraid.
I know.
Not a flower expert.
Okay, let's what shape did I want? I'm thinking here. The bell. Okay. So what you do with these is if you're going to go, say, 30, so bell concave 30, I would tap on that. Let's just have it like this. Oops, I'm on free form. I want it on uniform for this. So let's say you have a flower shape like this, like a pro-tea. I got to stop saying it. What you'll want to do when you nest them together, when it has the flowers in this shape, and then you have sort of a raised center, you'll want to go and find the opposite. So bell convex 30. So that's kind of important to make them match up. So then you'll have it on a new layer. Yeah. And then you can size that up there and fit it in there. And that way you'll have that shape. So that's really the only thing you need to remember about using them together, is just use the corresponding degree. If that makes sense to everybody.
Maybe I missed this, Kris, but did you mention what blending modes you're using to have them overlapping like that?
Oh, I didn't. They're actually not. They're transparent. I made them this way. They have some sort of transparency. Yeah. Figured that might be.
That's smart.
Yeah. So I hope that makes sense. That's really the only thing. They're pretty simple to use, except just that one thing. Just use the corresponding or the opposite degree. So if it's -30, use 30 on the other side. So hopefully that's good. Well, I better get to painting. I'm looking at my time. So I'm actually going to, let's see. I'm just thinking I have a sketch already that I could just get, and then actually no, I should do that because you want to see the actual grid builder, if I can think of what things are called. Okay, so I'm going to do this cup -15. Pop that on there. I'll turn off the effects for a sec. Okay, so this is a fairly simple one because it's just one grid, but we're going to show you how to do some of the painting. So let's just get something simple. So I'm just going to add a new layer, go back to my favorite sketch. And already I can see where my stem is going to be. So I'm just going to pop that in there, somewhere around there. Let's put some little leaves on it. Oops. And this sketch I'm actually going to just use as a sketch. I'm going to use the watercolor to color it, and I'm not going to have it lined. Sometimes when I'm doing my illustrations, I do have them lined because obviously it would match, the other subject matter that I'm doing. But for this, it'll be more just a watercolor flower. All right, so those are just my leaves I've kind of decided on. I'm going to have this petal. It's going to be sort of a multi-petal, sort of a wild rose type idea. So I'm just following the lines to give me an idea of where everything is. And then feel free, obviously, you got to have some irregular stuff because flowers are irregular. And they have all the little bits. So you can see under here where, you'd have the underside. Although I'm going to put a little leaf here because I can need those. Something like that. My sketches are always really messy and loose, but I think that really helps just keep it not too structured. You can do that later. I've also drawn this flower before, so I don't have to make too many major decisions.
Yeah, I guess that's a big takeaway today. Whilst this pack is going to support you a lot in your flower drawing journey, don't expect to match Kris's speed or precision, because she's done this thousands of times. So, start slow and be easy on yourself.
Oh, exactly. Okay, so there's like a messy sort of sketch. Okay, so I've just turned off my guide, and then I'm going to turn down my sketch. Just turn down the opacity. And I'm going to start painting. So I'm going to fill in with I think I'm going to use, my watercolor taper texture. Because it gives me like this is black, but you can see it gives me a really textured sort of nice sort of rough edge look. Because this is going to be quite loose and more of a wet look. So I'm going to use this pink. Hopefully you can see this pink. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Good. It's faint, but lovely.
Yeah. It's just, you'll want to start light and build up, of course, just like real painting usually. So that helps. So I'm just going to fill in, and like a lot of color or watercolors, you need to hold your pen down the entire time and just fill it in. And then what I also do is I paint like I paint in real life too. I have all my, I will have each petal on a separate layer, or you can have them together if they're not touching. So normally when I paint, I wouldn't paint a wet, I would paint one petal and let it dry first before I painted the petal beside, because otherwise it's going to bleed. Right. So same concept. Long way of saying that. So I'm just still not being like, again, that's why my sketch wasn't really important to be super picky, because this is just going to be a little bit more of a loose watercolor thing. So I'm just finding the petals that aren't touching. This way it does save on layers, or you can do them all in individual layers if that suits you more. Actually, you know what? I am going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to actually bring my petals out like that, because I'm going to have them sort of this blending thing happen. Sorry, changing my mind. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer and then start another. This is why it would probably be easier if you did every petal on a single layer, but that's all right. I'm going to start a new layer, and I'm actually going to complete the whole petal so that you can see it behind. That's what I was kind of getting at. Do you see how that kind of overlaps? So you see the transparent part? Mm-hmm. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. And the same thing. This is how I did this flower, the original one that you saw in the picture for this call. Having them overlap so you have that transparency going. I'm actually going to do this on this layer too. I'm just being really quick. It's really rough, but it will work. Okay, so new layer, filling in this petal. This one over here. And new layer. Just going to get this little inside part here. And over here. There's always one last little one. Needs its own layer. All right. So now that we have it all filled in, I'm going to, if you ever watch my YouTube channel, I am obsessed with clipping masks. It's really the only major thing I do use in Procreate besides brushes. It's like
right, the basics.
I know. I mean, like, I don't know what else you need. A clipping mask is all I need in life. Okay. So
because right now, I don't know if it's because of the screen share. Right now, that looks like a big kind of massive pink, right? And there's not.
It does.
That much distinction between.
Exactly. So let's change that. So I'm going to grab this color here. Let's see if that works for us. This peachy color. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to do the watercolor wet edges. Let's see how that goes for us.
By the way, Lillian says, oh, I didn't know it actually had the brushes to paint as well as the guides.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got it all. It's a
yes.
humongous pack.
Okay, so then I'm just going to go and what layer am I on here? Where's this guy?
I was going to say, yeah, if you want to identify, I guess you just toggle visibility.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh, I just wasn't showing up there. Okay, so I'm just going to just feather my brush along the edges. Just start kind of doing that, getting that watercolor look in there. I'll turn these on. It does look kind of cool when it comes in. Oh, I should also say that this one I'm going to move to the top. It's early. Forgive me. This one in the front needs to be, I should have actually done these all.
Yeah, so the top layer would be the front.
That's right.
In terms of the physicality of the object.
Exactly. The layer on my, yes, how I'm layering these. It's like, why isn't this showing up? It's so weird. Early. All right. So I'm just going and just dusting, just getting some paint on it really. And just getting that edges, those edges. These are really easy watercolor brushes to work with. They really just make it look like watercolor pretty quickly. So that's
pretty stunning already, actually.
Thanks.
Some
actually,
nice
normally.
brushes.
Oh, we haven't even got the canvas on. Probably should do that. There. Now it actually has a texture. So they actually do look like watercolor without the canvas. So that's great.
There's a tip here from Bill. I'm just curious to see what you think, Kris. Bill says placing your sketch layer on top of your petal layers and setting it to multiply will let you see where the individual leaves are even easier.
Oh, yeah, that's true. At this point, actually, yeah, you could. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll work. Normally I have these a little bit more organized, but that's okay. Okay, let's go to this. I'm just reordering my layers here. So come on, grab for me thing. There we go. Okay, these are the next ones I want. So another clipping mask, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I can change my color just a little bit if I want, just a little bit of variety, but I'm going to keep it pretty much the same. Just edging those.
And was it just a arbitrary color choice? Like, did you just go a touch darker for these shadows, or is there some kind of
I just changed it just a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Just sometimes I like to play with it. But keep it a pretty neutral color palette. Or pretty, what am I trying to say? They're all pretty much similar colors. I'm not going crazy at the moment.
Nice. Beth says, wow, that looks amazing.
Oh, thanks. So I'm really concentrating on the base and the edges. Actually, I'm going to turn off my sketch layer for this so maybe you can see that a little bit better. And then this one, just clipping mask. But I kind of like the layered look where you have them coming in from behind. So, you know, it's not realistic, but it's more of a watercolor sort of look, I guess, or just a style.
Yeah, no, it's really nice.
A little bit of a departure from my usual stuff. But this is really like, I'm just tapping on color. It's really, really simple to do that part once you have it worked out where everything is. Make that a little darker because that's sort of that edge. And let's see, last little guy. Okay. So then you can go, of course, and do another clipping mask. I'm at the top here. And I can use, I think I'll stick with that color. I'm gonna just go put some blobs and stuff. Let's see what happens there. I'm gonna get splotch 3. And you can just move and rotate these. And again, normally I would actually have these all on separate layers, but that's okay. You can change the, play with your color modes. Color burn is nice. Multiply is nice. You can change the opacity as well. I'm going to just, just going to erase this here because I actually only want it on the one petal at a time. So just getting some extra little edges. And I can also go and add another layer and maybe try white and add some little splashes. You can see that, a little splatter if you like that look. I just play with them, just sort of, you know, see where you can add some extra details. Maybe I'll add this one.
Nita says if I can make 1% of how Kris is making her flowers, I'll be on top of the world.
Oh,
you can, Nita.
You can. Seriously,
follow along.
Yeah. Follow. I've got lots of, like I said, there's lots of tutorials. Like, and then I'll have, there's the one that's included in the pack that you'll already have, and then one will air today on my channel, and then I'll have another one next week as well, which will be this flower, and I'll probably do a more thorough job of it. So I just changed that to multiply and turn the opacity down just like I did the other one. And I won't do every single petal, guys, but I will just show you how that, oops, wrong one. Show you how this works. Just adding some splotches. And you can also add some, let's see, like this darker color maybe. That could be nice. Oops, helps if it's a clipping mask. Maybe this color would look better. Just adding a few touches here and there. Probably should quickly add some petals and leaves here. Just turn on my layer again. And I'm just going to get this darker color. I'm going to stick with the tapered texture, I think. Yeah. And just, actually, I'll bring this up to the top. Let's go to the top. So this will go over here. It keeps on going on clipping mask. So when you're doing these, you can always just leave a little bit of white. I could have done that with the petals too. Sometimes that will give you a nice watercolor effect. Sorry, I just keep having this over like that. All right.
It's really delicate though.
Yeah. There's all sorts. I mean, this is just, like I said, a style that I was just kind of playing around with. But you can do all sorts of styles. Like you'll
Bill
see.
says, I'm really excited for this set. I think this may be the set that actually has me trying flowers for the first time,
thanks,
I guess.
Belle. Well, I hit up Tony to draw me a flower. You'll see on the pack. He was so gracious and kind to him and Candace. But Candace, I know, is used to drawing flowers a little bit more. But Tony was, I really appreciated him doing that when it's not really his usual thing. And he loved
That's
it.
great.
So it was very
sweet. That is sweet. And I think it's so helpful to go outside our comfort zones.
Yeah, totally. That's what I told him.
He'll be drawing wedding dresses following your lead next.
That's right. Oh, let's just get these on here. Something like that. Usually I'm a little bit pickier, but you know, sometimes nice things happen when you do things kind of quick and messy. You never know what will turn out.
Beth says, I love packs that have guides.
Yeah.
Proportion and perspective is so hard. It really is. I think
Yeah.
that's why, I mean, consistently we see so
Mhm.
many of our most popular assets here at Design Cuts are these kind of guide packs, because it's a real struggle for people. And I think it's such a good learning exercise as well.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, they're really helpful. I'm just bringing in my favorite sketch, just to do a few detailed things. This is nice for doing some, if you wanted to put in some little extra lines and things like that, little details if you chose. Actually, that would not come from there. All right, and then I would just go on clipping mask on this and sort of make some stuff happen. Maybe I'll use this red, and let's get some splotches on here like that, and maybe some of this darker stuff, a few little blobs. I don't know, just have a play with it. I really like where are you? My soft bloom. That's a really nice one for edges too, just to kind of get that dried look on the edges. That's really helpful. Oops, maybe a little bit dark. All right. So once I'm done, I would probably continue on with this one for a little bit longer, but once I'm done, what you can do too, if you want to keep all your layers, I would just duplicate your canvas. And then I start to play with things like I would go and just select all my layers and just group them, and you can flatten them. And then if you duplicate it, it's already popped a little bit. You can play with your color burn if you want and bring that down. That's made a difference, depending on what kind of look you want. You can also go and turn on these extra paint effects, which are going to really make a difference depending on what you want. They might be a little bit strong, so you can turn down the opacity. You can also move them around too. So, oops, that's the wrong one. You can move them around and that'll change the kind of look of it too. So yeah, kind of have a play
Beautiful.
with it. And
yeah, really beautiful. Kris, thank you for
thanks.
always being so lovely and fantastic to work with. But yeah, Kris, thank you. Such a pleasure as always.
Thank
I appreciate you joining
always.
me.
Yeah, it was so nice to see you. And thank you, everybody, again. Like I said, it was totally inspired by you, and you gave me that confidence to do it. So I really appreciate it.
I still can't get over that. It's so full circle. It's like from that inception point months ago all the way to being with many of those same people today.
Yeah.
It's been a true kind of community collaboration, this pack.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome.
So thank you.